please do tell them to come on board. Okay. Can we start recording? Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for coming to PTB for the month of April. It's always a joy to have everyone gathered together. So today, we are going to be looking at the power of aloneness, the power of aloneness. And indeed, it is such a beautiful topic because even when this topic was chosen, even online, if you've been following, there's a lot of stories that are going on. And we're going to be looking at the difference between being alone and loneliness as well. And today I have someone who is, a part of Pass the Baton as well, actually. She's a known face here. She's always here. Even when she's not a speaker, she is also part of us. So today we're looking at the power of aloneness. And I have I always call her the Mindset Queen. She is the founder of Mindset Makeover, and a lot of us know her. She is a philanthropist. She is one that is always there for the downtrodden, and I like her values as well. So tonight, I have no other person than Tope Shongodino. Shongonuga. Sorry, I have a friend called Shongodino. Shongonuga. Tope Shongonuga. She is the founder of Mindset Makeover. And you all know her on this platform. She is going to be drilling into this topic, the power of aloneness. What is it? Is it, when that season comes, what do you do in that season? Can you use that season as something that would, make you to be stronger? Or do you look at that season and think, you know what? I cannot do this by myself. So there is so much strength in that season, and she's going to talk us through it. And I believe that women online that are watching or will watch later, you will learn one or two. And I believe that your lives will be transformed as a result of this topic of the power of aloneness. So I'm just going to take myself off the screen and I will let her to do justice to this topic. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for what you represent. Thank you for your support to the vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking time out to bless yourself, really, because that's what it's about. Because our time is our lifetime, right? Time is our most expensive resource. So when we set aside time for ourselves, we're blessing ourselves. So it's not like you're attending for Sister Bumi or for Pastor Batten. You're blessing yourself by being here. So, and you're blessing me too, because you're allowing me to share my passion, my vision with you. So thank you. Right. So as my sister already introduced, Tope Shongonuga, the visionary behind Mindset Makeover Mission. And we're here today to talk about a very important topic, really, the concept even, that is misunderstood, undervalued, I would say. Some of us don't know the power of it. Some of us are learning the power of it. So, but before I go into it, I'm just going to share with us the Mindset Makeover Mission maxim, which is that everything we do, say, or think, who we are, and how we show up, all come from our mind and how and upon what it is said. It's all in the mind. It's all about your mindset. So just know that. And if that knowledge should guide you, actually, should be your North Star, so that you know how powerful your mind is. You're actually thinking about your thoughts, okay? So that's metacognition. You're thinking about something and you should be thinking about why you're thinking that way. That's what that's saying. So I'm going to be taking us through a journey here tonight, okay? So we're going to look at aloneness. My sister has already alluded to it, that sometimes we confuse aloneness with loneliness. So today, hopefully, I can dispel that myth even. Then we're going to look at different types of aloneness, because it varies from person to person and from circumstance from one to the other. We're going to look at the power that is inherent in being alone. Okay. Once we've distinguished loneliness from aloneness, then we're going to look at the power of that is packed into that state of aloneness. Then I'm going to share with us some tips on how to practice healthy aloneness for those who find themselves in a particular state, experiencing a particular type of aloneness. How do you practice healthy aloneness? So while you're in that season, how are you making good use of it, positive use of it? Then again, there are those who, well, no, the first one is about healthy alone. It's more like solitude. When you actually choose a period of it, it's your choice. But for those who find themselves in a season of their not of their own choosing, well, that's just how life has happened. Okay. I will also share tips for how to leverage that season so that it doesn't go to waste, because everything that happens to us happens for a reason and for a purpose. So you better be prepared to take full advantage of it, to learn lessons from that. If it's a storm, you lean into the storm and learn lessons from it. Then I'm going to suggest that we go into a moment of simulation where we'll practice stillness and exercise. I'll say about 10 minutes. Then at the end, some Q&As and some takeaways. All right, so let's jump right into it. What is aloneness and why is it resisted? Okay, that resistance comes sometimes from the individual or sometimes it's projected by society. Okay, so the concept of aloneness is that latent superpower within us. We don't know that it is because society has conditioned us to conflate loneliness with aloneness. So even when you find yourself in a period of aloneness, or it could be a moment even, it could be days, it could be months, it could be years, right? You don't know how to utilize it. You don't even know that there's a distinction because society has projected, as I already suggested. But there's power. It's a superpower, really. If you've set your mind, remember what I said, that maxim about how we set our mind, the power of our mind. If you've already learned the distinction like we're doing today, after today, I hope that the people here and the people watching on playback also learn to make that distinction for themselves. Okay. And it can be used as a tool for healing. Okay. So sometimes you may need to remove yourself for a period of time where you feel like you need to nurture yourself mentally, like for your well-being, so that you come back feeling a lot more wholesome, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or even physically too. Yeah, so it can be used for that. It's a form of liberation. When our minds are overstimulated because there's so much happening, especially in this day and age, I call it the deluge of social media. It's such a deluge that the image that comes to my mind is when there's like a flow of water that's just been released, so maybe water's been contained and it's just been released, and that volume that's coming at you is so much. It's the kind of volume of water that can carry someone along with it. And that's what the social media deluge can be. So if you're living your life on the social media streets, your mind can easily get overstimulated. Okay. And then it could lead to burnout. It could be burnout from your work, your business life. And then you're allowing social media to interfere with that as well. And of course, tying into that is the digital overload. You got your different devices that you carry around with you. Like when I travel, I carry a laptop, right? Like a regular laptop, a 14, 15 inch. And then I carry a tablet, like a 10 or 11 inch. Why do I do that? And then I have two phones. So this girl alone goes into a hotel room where the Wi-Fi is limited to two devices. I already have four. That's not going to work. So that's that overload where everything's coming at us, where we're seeking. I don't know why we do it to ourselves, but that's where we are. Okay. So it can liberate us from that. And I already alluded to this, that sometimes life just happens and life throws you into a season of aloneness, not of your choosing. That's the accidental aloneness. Now, the intentional one is the one where you've decided that you want to take a retreat, whether you're physically leaving your environment, your home, and going someplace. It could be a spiritual retreat. It could just be a well-being retreat where you go, I'm just going to go away somewhere. Okay. And that's an intentional form of aloneness or type of aloneness. It can be empowering if it's harnessed, if you set your mind in such a way that you know that this too shall pass. Okay. So you can harness it in that knowledge that this is a season, we're not going to waste it. Okay. Because honestly, you're not going to get a refund. If you find yourself in a season of 3 month season of aloneness, or a 1 year season of aloneness, or a 3 week, those are weeks, hours of your life that you're never going to get back. You're not going to get a refund. So you better be positioned to harness it and leverage it positively. Okay. So I'm hoping that these sessions like this will help you and equip you even. It can attract a level of discomfort. Yeah. Because some people feel like, oh my God, they fear that they're missing out on something. If they haven't got their device with them, they haven't got data or Wi-Fi, they feel like, wow, okay, so what's been happening while I've been away? They have been away, but they've just been away from the social media streets, okay? So they feel like they've missed out on something, probably nothing, okay? So this life we live in, this social media generation that we found ourselves living in, people are fearful of solitude. It's kind of like, my phone must work. What am I going to do if I don't have a phone? Okay, so 25 years ago, we probably didn't have phones. 30 years ago, we didn't have them. We lived, we thrived. We didn't just survive, we thrived. Okay, but society, our modern life is telling us that, nah, aloneness is not a good thing. You don't want to be disconnected, whatever that means. And of course, I alluded to this already. There's a social and cultural stigma attached to that because it's confused with loneliness. So when you're alone and you're enjoying your own company, you will find that some people will suggest that, are you sure you're not? No. Some of us actually love our own company. Honestly, for me, going to a party is so much of a burden. Okay. Too much, not even so much, too much of a burden. And what do we go there to do? We talk about someone, how they're wearing their hair, how they're wearing their clothes, and how it's hanging right or not hanging right. And then we're going to eat food that we might not even enjoy. I've got better food waiting in my freezers at home, and then we struggle to find clothing that fits. You didn't know that it didn't fit any longer. You've had it in your wardrobe. All of that stress to go to a party. And then you come back and you're tired, and then you can't do much work the next day because you're so tired. And then someone will tell you, compare that with someone who's been at home being very productive. Even if you're not doing anything, I kid you not, mental well-being is so important. You could be laying there enjoying the power of nothingness, okay? And you're so chillaxed out. Your soul will thank you for it. And then they're looking at you and going, no, you're missing out. On what? What am I missing out on? So that's where knowing that remembering that each one of us, adults at least, have agency. We have agency. You live your life however it works for you. You define for yourself what fun means to you. For me, fun is traveling around the world. Yeah, that's fun for me. Not going to a party. Someone said, oh, so you don't go to parties? I said, no, I travel. Oh, okay. So how do you remember the places you visited? Oh, I said, oh, trust me. Not only do I remember, I can tell you, I can walk you through the streets of Dubai. I can walk you through the streets of Singapore. I can give you directions in Jerusalem. I know because that's a vision for me. But, parties, I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to remember whose party I attended or didn't attend. But I can tell you that I've seen how God, how cultures, differ from one place to another. I may not understand the language, but I go there and I see the power of nature. I see that God indeed is the owner of everything. Okay, so that's it for me. Now, someone else would say, well, that must be lonely. No, it's not. So you don't let people define. Remember, we each have agency. Do not let people define for you what fun is, so that you're not made to feel like, to plug into that stigma that is around that has been attached to aloneness. Okay, so I've talked about this. So just throwing out there, mindset makeover alert. We need to ditch that mindset. Aloneness is not synonymous with loneliness. They're two different words. Even the dictionary agrees. Okay, so honestly, if you don't take anything away from tonight's session, take that one with you. It is not they're not the same. So aloneness is a state of being by oneself. Okay, you're alone. By the way, some people are in marriages and they're actually lonely Okay. Whereas people who live alone, someone may suggest to them that they're lonely. No, it could be that you're physically alone or you're mentally alone or both. Okay. And it can involve it can be a period of intentional solitude where you've just time boxed to say, okay, for this, I'm going to go away, do something, or stay home and not do whatever and do this instead. So it's a disposition. It's a preference. It's someone's chosen, usually. Anyway, we look at the different types. So it's a matter of choice, really. Whereas loneliness is an emotional state where the person truly feels disconnected. They want to be plugged in over there, but they're over here. They're feeling it. Okay. Whereas the other person who is alone, they're where they want to be. They're really enjoying where they are. Okay. So that person that lacks a meaningful connection is a lonely person. You'll be surprised, as I mentioned, that some people are in a marriage, they feel lonely. Some people are in a group, and they still feel lonely because for them, what they define, that connection that they're looking for doesn't exist. Okay. Yet they're in the midst of people. Go figure. So is that feeling of being, that's feeling of being disconnected or unseen or unsupported? They may be around the wrong crowd and be feeling lonely because that's not giving them what their soul desires to feel connected. And it's an unwanted situation, of course. It's where people feel sad, they feel isolated, and that's that place of loneliness, not aloneness, is where people may begin to experience signs of depression, and different forms of anxiety, or they're worried about something and they don't have anyone to share it with. So I hope that you are able now to identify the difference between the two. Just to remind you, please, your questions, we'll take them at the end. So if you have questions, we can do that at the end. Okay. Now, types of aloneness. So there are about 6 there that I called out. I've mentioned this already, but I'll just elaborate a bit more. So intentional aloneness is where someone has chosen solitude. Okay. It could be that they've chosen it for growth reasons. They feel like, well, I need to take time out to think about. It's a place where people are able to answer the question, the fundamental question. Well, self-discovery, that's where it happens. That fundamental question that, why am I here? Okay. When you're in the midst of people, you're having so much fun, whatever fun means to you, you're going around partying and doing work, business, all of that. You don't have time for that. You may decide that, you know what, I'm going to take the next month. Or some people will say it's December or you're approaching a new year. I'm just going to take some time out, solitude, that's the intentional one. Okay. The next one is the philosophical one where people are, just, they're approaching a milestone birthday or something, and suddenly dawns on them that, hang on, am I where I'm supposed to be? Have I really achieved those things that I set out for myself, those goals that I've been nurturing, those dreams I've had that have only stayed on my pillow night after night, year after year, decade after decade? The dreams, you wake up, the dreams stay on the pillow. You go back at night, you lay on that same pillow, the dreams, you dream about them, so that's the one where they've had the mindset shift and they're like, okay, so now I need to separate myself. I need to be serious about this. That's where you might find that people who, like a few years ago, they were like the party animal. Okay? They're always at every party. You hear that they're there. And then suddenly you don't hear about them again. Who knows? Maybe they've taken themselves into a philosophical state of aloneness. Who knows? The third one is protective aloneness. This is the one where some people, they may previously be part of a friendship group, and then they decide to isolate themselves for whatever reason. They know their reason because they feel hurt. So this is protective aloneness where they've decided that, it's self-imposed too. For my mental well-being, okay, I'm going to separate myself from this group or from this situation. And that, if one's not careful, that could actually be conflated with spiritual bypassing, which is where there's some trauma there. Rather than dealing with that trauma, so maybe you fell out with your friend, okay? Rather than dealing with it, you just separate yourself. And that thing is just you're gonna be nursing that pain, that trauma. You're not gonna heal from it. So that's spiritual bypassing. So as long as one is clear, like properly lucid about the type of aloneness and why, let me say the why of that aloneness season, okay? Then you can leverage it positively. But if you're not quite sure, or if it's kind of blurry for you, you don't know whether you're isolating from pain, but you're not doing any healing because you're in denial, or you're actually isolating for a good reason. So you just need to figure that one out. That's why I said beware of spiritual bypassing. This is where, you're kind of like, well, you get all super spiritual about it. I'm going to go and do a retreat, and you're praying and fasting. But all you did was fall out with your friend. Just go sort that out. Don't waste your time, because that's still going to be there. So that's spiritual bypassing. That's the reference there. Creative aloneness is where you may have heard people say that their creative instincts get properly stimulated when they're alone. So they go away someplace, and then they can do a lot, right? They'll say, when I was away on vacation somewhere, I was able to complete my book, okay? Or do some drawing. So that's creative one, where they use that space for innovation and artistic expression, where the juices flow a bit better because there are no distractions. They're not at home where they have to do the cleaning, the chores, they have to attend to the family or whatever else, or business or work. So that's creative aloneness. The last but one is the unwanted aloneness. This is a painful one where, people just feel isolated. I mentioned that already. For whatever reason, maybe, life just happens, and they find that they're drifting from their friendship groups or the connections they had before, or the fell out even with their friend, and they don't want to be there. That one is akin to loneliness. Okay, that's the one that can draw a person into proper loneliness and that isolation. And that's the one that one should watch out for. That's the one that could also, I mentioned earlier, could lead to a form of emotional issue, health issue rather. And the last one, there's a circumstantial or transitional aloneness, where it's a life shift. So maybe divorce, okay, breakup of a relationship, and that's the one where whether or not you like it, you're going to change. You will change. When you get to the other side of that pain, yeah, you're going to be a different person, whether or not you like it. Something would have changed, hopefully for the better, so that you come out better and not bitter. But that's the kind of aloneness, again, that one needs to, you need to make peace with it and do something with that time. Because if you're not careful, if you're not mindful, if you're not intentional about turning it, making it a positive experience, it could actually, the person could turn out to be bitter from that experience rather than better. Okay? So what is the power that is inherent then in intentional aloneness? Okay, so I've listed a few here. Right, so it allows you to focus. So this is the healthy one. Remember, this is whether it's a short period of time, whether it's the intentional one or the one from transition, life transition, circumstantial. This is where, honestly, I mentioned this at the start, you're not going to get a refund. Okay, you're not going to get a refund. So you better make the most use of this time. Remember what COVID gave us? COVID gave us a lot of spare time. We had more hours at the end of our days and weeks and months in that COVID season. So a lot of people did something new. They took training, they learned new skills. Okay. So if you find yourself in a period of aloneness, right, that is not the painful kind, the one where you're healthy in yourself, in your well-being, right? You should look at doing something with it. This is where you can enhance your focus and productivity. Okay, this is where all the things that you had wanted to do, that you were distracted from doing for one reason or another, well, this is the time. Imagine that it's your COVID gift And I'm sorry for those who lost loved ones during COVID. I'm sorry about that. But I'm a Christian. I believe that those of us who were left here alive were left here for a purpose. So we better not waste that time. Okay. So this is one of those moments where you should use that positively to set boundaries. If you need to set new boundaries or adjust existing boundaries so that you can realign your priorities. Maybe you've just been living life accidentally. The days roll up, they become weeks. And then every year you get a changeover. You're forgetting that actually as you're adding to those numbers, so are you getting closer to the end? Okay. So this is a time when you've got this free time, use it wisely. This is where you can sit yourself down and look at your priorities and go, am I truly living life as abundantly as I should? Good. Am I living the life that I desire, the life I have earned? Okay. So this is where you should be able to focus on those and begin to identify what your truths are. Resilience, of course. When you come out of this without losing your mind, and then you would definitely have increased in resilience a few notches. So hopefully this experience will allow you to break away from that overdependence. We are so dependent, most of us, even though I'll keep repeating this, we have agency. We don't utilize that agency as adults. It's as though we're getting our marching orders from society. We're doing what society tells us to do. We're doing what everyone's doing. It's like someone somewhere is a taskmaster and is telling us how to dress, how to show up, where to go, where to be. It's kind of like that's what everyone's doing. Who is everyone? No one bears that name, but there's a lot of anxiety inherent in that, basically giving up our power. That agency we have, just totally relinquishing it. Okay. And this is where you build resilience. This is where you take back that power and go, okay, I have agency over my life. This is a season. I'm going to make the most use of it. Don't listen to the noise, the distraction, the projections, the suggestions, other people's opinions that will want to take you away from that and make you feel as though, well, actually, you should be where everyone is. No, you shouldn't, because we came alone. Even twins, they may have shared a womb. They didn't get pulled out at the same time. And even if they did, they'd have a different, what am I looking for? The DNA will still show that they're individuals. They're not a carbon copy like that. Okay. So this is where we should build that emotional resilience, that independence, where, we're not so dependent on the opinion of people. It's as though we're living our life by committee. We're getting, as I said, marching orders. Rather than go to our creator, we go to our friends. And then you have 5 friends give you 5 views. And then you distill the views. And then before you realize you've displaced yourself rather. Okay. So this is where we actually build resilience, making very good use of that alone season, where we cultivate that peacefulness that comes from knowing why you are here. And if you don't know that answer already, this is a time where you ask yourself, this is a self-discovery space, the sacred space where you can begin. And it's one of the points there where you can begin that journey of self-discovery, where you get to meet yourself and you get to welcome yourself. It's like, hello, girl. Okay. So this is the place where you build that resilience. When you go back out, you're a stronger person for it, because now you're not so dependent on opinions of others. You are able to stand your ground. You're able to actually live life on your own terms. Okay, you're able to stop internalizing all of those societal judgments that cloud our own instincts. Okay, you reclaim that power that you've given, whether tacitly or even consciously. Okay, empowerment. Okay, so a moment of intentional aloneness is a ground for serious empowerment, because that's when you are able to have that clarity that you need, especially for those of us who are getting a little bit older. Honestly, if you've wasted enough, well, no, let me rephrase that. If you wake up, if you ever wake up and you feel regret for something, and you're still here, and you can change that something, then you have time to do it. There's no such thing as, oh, I've run out of time. No, you haven't. It's only the dead who've run out of time. We're still here. Well, this moment anyway. So it's this moment that you can use to strengthen yourself, strengthen your mind, strengthen your resolve. It's where breakthroughs are born. I guess it's for me, Breakthroughs Church. It's where breakthroughs are born. Okay. It's where your purpose, that clarity, honestly, that's where you get it, because you're not bothered about missing someone's party. As a matter of fact, you're not even interested in going, because you've got better things to do on your date with yourself. You've got so much that you've been putting off year after year. There's so much you could be doing, skills you could be learning. Now you have more time to learn those skills. You're empowering yourself, whether professionally or whether it's a business you've been thinking about, but because you haven't had enough time to actually sit down and think about it, think about what you need. But because you haven't had that time, all you're thinking about is, oh, I can't do it. Oh, it's expensive. How do you know? You don't even know how much it's going to cost you to start out. But you've already concluded because you don't have time. This is where you're strengthened to actually have more time at your fingertips to do things. Honestly, you'll be surprised by how much life you buy back by having that much more time. Because remember, our time is our most expensive resource. If you now have more time to spend on yourself, more time to spend on planning your own life, day by day even, imagine the power that can bring into your life. And lastly, the empowerment. You're able to better emotionally regulate yourself. That gives you the power to self-manage, because now you're thinking about your thoughts. Previously, because you were so busy with life, when thoughts occur to you, you haven't got time to actually ponder on them. You just go with the flow. You just go and then you forget, you pack it away. But now all those thoughts are coming back to you, and you now have time to process them. You have time to separate thoughts, to begin to walk through them, to begin to see where they lead you. Okay. And you're better able to emotionally regulate yourself. You're better able, your emotional intelligence quotient goes up a few notches, because you've taken that time to build yourself up, to strengthen yourself. Now you are more sturdy than before. And lastly, I've touched on this already a few times, but I'm just going to close it with that. Self-discovery. This is a place for self-discovery and growth, honestly. You have that deeper connection with yourself, so that when you next engage with people, it will be on your own terms, and it will be from a place of wholeness. Because now you know yourself better, you know what your triggers are, you know how to engage with other people. So your interactions are that much more savvy in that sense. And in this place is where you're able to introspect, you're able to take an inventory of your life. You're like, okay, so 10 years ago, I had this vision to do something. And I started, and then I abandoned it because life got busy. So why did I abandon it? Where did I stop? Where did I park it? Can I pick it up from there? Can I dust it off? Can I try again? Yes, I can. Yeah. You are able to build yourself up, because now, remember, you've weaned yourself away from that societal overdependence where, I don't know. I mean, as I've mentioned a few times, we just give up. We just allow society to tell us how to be. Whereas this one helps you to remember that actually you're a unique masterpiece. Every one of us is a unique masterpiece with a unique vision, a unique destiny, and a unique path to achieve that destiny. Honestly, no matter how many friends you have, no matter how many children you have, you're going to account for your own life at the end, your own life, okay? So you better make good use of the time that you have, rather than just allowing society to suck it out of you. So this place of intentional aloneness is where you can increase that self-acceptance. You now no longer need to be validated by other people. No, because sometimes one person will tell you that wig looks nice on you, and the other person says, yeah, I don't know. So what are you going to do about it? Why not just look in the mirror and go, I like it. If someone says, oh, I don't like it, well, then don't wear it. Oh, I don't like that on you. Fine, thank you. I like it on me. That way you've weaned yourself off, and you will find that you gain more strength. The strength you've gained there, you're able to put it to good use because it doesn't hurt anymore. If someone says, oh, I'm not sure about that, thank you. That's fine, because at the end of the day, every one of us, we have one opinion or another about someone else that they didn't solicit for. As a matter of fact, Solomon said it well, best in the book of Ecclesiastes, my favorite book of the Bible. It said that, listen, don't be offended when you hear that your servants have been talking bad about you, because you know that at some point or another, you've done the same to other people. And that's true for everybody. So be self-accepting. If the world doesn't accept you, you know you're self-accepting and you know God accepts you. And that's sufficient for you, because guess what? There will be people that you don't accept yourself anyway. So we're even. Okay. And that helps to build your confidence, because the more time you spend with yourself, the stronger you are as a person. So when you show up as your most authentic self. Okay. This is me. I accept me. I'm not asking anybody for permission. It's kind of like, keep your opinion to yourself. Okay. So you're showing up as a stronger person because you've made good use of that time. And every time you show up to interact, it will be on your own terms. When you interact, it'll be on your own terms. You'll be able to discern between solitude as empowerment or avoidance. Okay. Leading us to how to practice healthy solitude. So about healthy solitude. So that point I just made a few moments ago about solitude could be a form of isolation for someone, like they're hiding from something. So your question should be, when you find yourself in a season of aloneness, your question, and if you can't determine what type of aloneness it is, your question should be, or let me say the litmus test should be the answer to this. Am I here alone? Okay, because I'm running from something or someone? Or am I here alone because I'm running towards myself? Okay, the answer will help you to determine whether that season, that aloneness, is a prison, if it's avoidance, or a portal where you can launch a better version of yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So how do we practice healthy solitude? So this is for people who they're not living alone, for example. They're not in an alone state per se, but they actually want to be able to take time out of their busy life and practice healthy solitude, maybe every so often. Okay, so the first one there, bear with me. Ooh, right. Ooh, when I click to, right. So you want to schedule time to have a daily, these are just suggestions, right? You should think about scheduling time for that daily, have a regular, like a regime of reflection and silence. Take yourself out of your busy, maybe even if you have young children at home that need your attention all the time, make time for yourself to just, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes per day, and then build up over time. Okay. So just build that into your routine. You owe that to yourself. You absolutely owe it to yourself, because if you're not strong enough, even if you have young children that need your attention, trust me, you are a better parent to them or a better spouse to your partner if you're a stronger person. Okay, so this is an investment that the family is going to benefit from anyway. Aside from the personal benefit you're going to derive from it, the family is going to derive a lot of benefit from it, because every time you come out, you're refreshed in your soul, in your spirit, because you've taken time out, you've thought about things. Because if you're just reacting to everything that's happening in your day, you haven't got time to take yourself away from it and then process it better. Then you come back and you've got a fresh perspective because you've taken that time out. So that's one practice that's one thing that you could practice, one tip that you could practice. And then nature. Take walks. By the way, walking is the quickest, simplest, free, not even cheapest, free way of losing weight and getting physically healthy, wholesomely healthy, take solo walks. Take nature breaks. Maybe if you live by the woods or if you live by a lake or something, or you can go someplace that's not far from you, walk there, sit down, and just listen to the birds, okay? Just look around, look at the skies, and appreciate. These are things that you wouldn't normally do in your day-to-day life, right? I mean, when I'm driving, sometimes I'm so mindless that I don't know how I got to where I got to. But I've driven to like 2 hours. I couldn't tell you what I saw on the way. I could not tell you because I haven't been concentrated. Whereas if you're deliberate about it, conscious, intentional about it, you'll be surprised by how much benefit you will derive from just taking a nature-based break like that. Find a bench, even if it's a park. You don't have to take your children. If you have young children, listen, take them sometimes and then sometimes take yourself. Okay? Just take yourself to a park if that's all you have near you. Sit there on the bench, watch. Do some people watching. Just watch how parents are responding or reacting to their children. You look at that toddler that just slapped the mom and you're thinking, hey, what would I have done? Oh, I would have given him two upside the head. And then you're thinking, oh, maybe that's not a good idea. Oh, look. And then you get home and your own 4-year-old gives you a slap. And normally you would have given them like 3 back. But this time you're like, oh, come back here, Prince. Why did you do that? And then because you've just learned a lesson just by people watching. Who knows? Find someone, watch the trees. You'll be surprised. Trees, oh my God. Sometimes those trees, when you look at them, it's like something's happening with them. You look at their roots, the way they're spread. They're not asking for permission from anyone to spread. And here I am. It's like I'm asking for the world for permission to be. Look at that tree. Like the tree outside my house, it's so huge, it's going under the roots and breaking up the pavement. And the council every few years will write to me to say, your tree is creating cracks. And I'm thinking, do whatever you like to that tree. That tree didn't ask me for permission to grow onto the public road. And then they'll come and shave it down and they'll say, well, hopefully you have insurance. If it falls over your house, I'll be like, it won't fall over my house. But the tree doesn't ask anybody for permission. It just breaks up the walkway, and that's it. So just find some place. Don't take your phone. Oh my God, that could be hard because you'll be thinking, what if I get lost? No, you won't get lost. What if my family is looking for me? No, they won't, because you will tell them where you're going and they can come and get you if there's an emergency. Don't take your phones. Don't take your headphones. Just sit there. Just try it. And then the disconnect to reconnect. This is the hardest one, I think, is where you just go offline. Oh my God. That's a tech detox. There's so much digital noise out there. Maybe take a day, maybe try half a day initially. Have a tech-free morning shift if you like, or have a tech-free day. Oh my God. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, have a tech-free period. Try it. If that's what it takes for you to take yourself offline so that you can think, because all you're looking for, remember your why. Your why is that you need time to have a clear head. You need time. You don't want to take yourself away because it will cost you money to go to a retreat, for example. At that point in time, just build this into your routine so that it becomes a regular part of your life. This is you giving back to yourself. And you deserve that. You deserve that. Nobody should be so busy that they cannot make time for themselves. Honestly, you are a better person, you're a better spouse, a better parent, a better friend even, and a better version of yourself by giving yourself time back in your day. It's your day like it is everyone else's day. We all get, each one of us, 24 hours. It's what we do with those 24 hours every day that's the game changer. That's why some people walk around as though they don't have any problem. They do. They just know how to manage them better than the next person because they just know that, listen, well, I have no control over the price of eggs. So if I can't buy 12 eggs today, I'm going to buy 6, okay? If the price of bread goes up, my favorite loaf of bread, I'm going to get the one I can afford. Or I'm going to learn how to make my own. It's out of my control. So that's where you can think about that. But if you're going through the day-to-day business and the life is telling you that everything's going, prices going up, prices, all you're thinking about is, oh my God, how awful life is. So no, life is not difficult. Listen, life will always, there's a time for everything, okay? And a season for everything under the sun, the Bible says. So the price of egg will go up and down, let it. Eat fewer eggs, okay? A few more. Buy cheaper ones. Okay, buy cheaper loaves of bread. Make your own, okay? Whatever it takes. But don't put a burden on yourself that's not necessary. And that's what we get from feeding too much from media. Okay, so try to disconnect sometimes. And then you can think, you can be more retrospective and introspective as well. And finally, intentional journaling. You should try to journal regularly. Use prompts. Ask yourself questions when you're in that period where you've pulled yourself out of your busy life, busy schedule, and you're able to ask yourself, because you know yourself that something's nagging at you in your spirit. Like when you feel like there's a restlessness in your spirit, you need time to figure it out, to process it, to get to the core, to the root of that restlessness. So that's where you might be able to ask yourself questions like, what truth am I avoiding? Yeah, because remember, there are some questions that only we can ask ourselves. Nobody else can, because if they dare to, we may not like it. But honestly, you should be in your quiet moment, be able to be honest with yourself. Okay, because you need to be accountable to yourself anyway. So that's the moment where you can journal about what do you really need? Remember, I've said this a few times about society. We allow society to put burdens on us. Society tells us how to be. They tell us sometimes how to think about something. So you could be asking yourself in this moment, when you're journaling that, okay, what do I need less of in my life? If you're someone who gets, you fall into that place where there's a lot of pressure on you. I hear things like, well, if you don't attend someone's party, who's going to attend yours? Nobody, because I'm not going to have one. Okay. But because people will put themselves out because of what people will say or might say if they don't. Those are the kind of things that you will be able to work through when you're in that period of solitude. That, let me think. We need to be careful how we spend our life. Honestly, our lives, we need to, because we're going to give account. You can't say, well, my friends encouraged me to do this, and while I was doing that, I wasn't able to use the talent you gave me to serve the people you sent me to. You can't. We need to give account. You want to be in a position that, okay, I've done the best I can with what I was given and with the life that I was handed, the grace that I got. Okay. So pick one practice that you'll try this week. I invite you. Write it down and hold yourself to account. If you have a friend that you're close with, and even especially if they're on this call, maybe you can be each other's accountability partner to say, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. And by the way, forget about that new year. What do they call it? New year. That thing that they said at the start of every year. New year resolution. Forget about that. Yeah. It's new day intention. So let this be your new day intention. Tonight, when you go to bed, think about any one of this or any other tip that works for you and say, from tomorrow, this is what I'm going to try. I'm going to try it every Tuesday or every Saturday, whatever. Just pick a day. You can change it. It's yours, it's your life and you have agency. Okay. And by the way, we have an intentional aloneness worksheet. If you'd like a copy, reach out through Sister Bumi. Okay. So season how do you, this is the one where you find yourself in a season of aloneness. So how do you leverage it? Right. The first one there is a mindful task audit. So what tasks have you got? Like we all go through day by day. It's kind of like, I want to do this. I should do this. I should do that. And you haven't got time. You haven't allowed yourself to think about making time. You do have time. You just didn't know it. Okay. So those tasks that you do out of habit, like you're just doing them because you can, and because life tells you it's okay. You haven't actually sat down to think about, why am I doing that? Do I need to be doing that? Should I ditch that and be doing something else? Will doing something else lead me actually get me closer to my vision? Okay, does it align better with my values? That's when you should be able to think about that, to write them down and begin to go, why have I been doing this all these years? Oh my God, I've been wasting all my time. You should be doing this. Maybe learning more, maybe taking a new course. And then there are some that you've been expending so much effort, so much energy, and they're draining you, taking up your time and giving you no value. They're the tasks that you spend so much time on, deriving no benefit. So you do the cost benefit analysis and go, well, maybe this one I don't even need. So now I can think about what I should be using my life. Remember, when you think life, think time, lifetime. We don't know this, but every time we're wasting time, we're wasting our lives. Seriously. Because we forget that every moment rolls up. That's what forms our lifetime over time. And we let that go because, oh, it's only time. No, no, no. Time is our most expensive resource. You need to reframe that thinking. It's not only time. Time is your most expensive resource. Sometimes it's cheaper to give money than to give time. Should be your mindset. Your time, you should spend your time only on things that add value to your life or to someone else's life, things that add value, period. If it doesn't add value and you're spending too much of your time on it, it's time to ditch it. Because that's your life. Because you'll just wake up one day, you'll be 70 something, and then you'll be wondering, how did I get here? You can't even remember how you got there because you haven't done much with your time. Then there's the future self journaling. So this is where, and we're going to do an exercise shortly. This is where you look at you visualize your future self and you're dreaming and you think, this is who I'd like to be. But you don't have to wait until then. This is who I like to be when I retire. Who told you you're going to retire before you are called home? So write a letter, create a vision board if you must, or look at it from the perspective of your future, that thriving self, that you, otherwise, what are you working for? What are you doing all this business for? And I don't want to hear that I'm working for my children. No, forget it. This one's, the money you spend 10 years saving, they're going to spend in 1 month. Trust me. So you're not here to work for your children. You're here to raise them, okay, while you're living. You prepare them to have successful lives. They're not waiting for you to die, okay? So you want to make sure that you're thriving. So think about that future self, that who would you like to be? And then begin to wonder why you're not already that person today. What do you need to do to become that person tomorrow? Yeah? Because this helps to anchor your intentions. And that way you can use that season of aloneness to transform your life into that truest, most authentic version of you. Cultivating solitude in social spaces, practice alone together activities. So you can go to a cafe where you're not interacting. You're just there with your book. You're there with your laptop, whatever it is you want to do, but you are in the midst of other people, but you're actually secluded. You're doing your own thing. You're not listening to their conversations, okay? You're doing your own thing, but you've taken yourself out of, maybe you live alone and you just say, I just want noise around me, but I don't want to be part of the noise, okay? Where you can observe and you tune out their voices and you tune into your own inner voice. Skill-based, this is where you learn a new skill. You can learn how to write. You can learn how to create AI applications. You'll be surprised by how easy it is for you to create an AI system today. It's that easy and it's that feasible too. You can learn how to write code. Again, it's all been made so much simpler than decades ago. So if there are any goals that you've been putting away, you think about it, I'd love to do this. What's stopping you? That should be what you should be asking yourself in that alone season. What is stopping me? The world really is our oyster, okay? Nothing should stop us. Nothing. You have agency, okay? This is where you will grow exponentially because you're now able to think about those things and work on them. If it means you're doing a research, start now, start tonight. If there's something that you've been meaning to do, honestly, don't put it off till tomorrow. After this session, give yourself time, tell yourself, make a date with yourself. Give yourself time to say, I am going to do this tonight. Research, just find out. You'll be surprised by how much information is already out there. And when people say knowledge is power, that's partial power. Power resides in the application of that knowledge, then it becomes wisdom. So truly, wisdom is power, not just knowledge, because a lot of people have knowledge, they're not using it, they're not utilizing that knowledge. Okay, it's when you utilize it, you convert it into wisdom. That's where power truly lies. Okay, and then the last one is the discomfort challenge. Solo travel. Yeah, that one's a tough one. Or going to a cinema on your own. Why not? I mean, I don't do it. I sleep in cinemas anyway, whether I go alone or not. So I wouldn't even waste my money like that. I'm just, cinema makes me, it puts me to sleep, unfortunately. Traveling, maybe travel solo. Why not? Imagine going abroad on your own, going somewhere on your own. Doesn't even have to be abroad. Just taking yourself away on a trip on your own. Oh my God, you'll come back knowing you better than when you set out. Imagine that. That will help, you'll be able to face whatever it is that has been bugging you. You'll have time. You'll be talking to yourself. Listen, there's nothing wrong. And I know Africans will agree with me on this, or will be resonant with Africans when they say, oh, when you start talking to yourself, it's a sign of madness. It is not true. It's not a sign of madness. They don't even know what madness means. When you talk to yourself, apart from the fact that you get the right answer, the right response, I'm only joking. When you talk to yourself, you can tell yourself off. You can, honestly, I do that. I might be going to get something that I know I should be getting out of the fridge, and I'm making my way to the kitchen and I'm going to talk about, don't do it. And then another voice is up, like, go on, treat yourself. Don't do it. You'll only be sorry. And then just before I get to the fridge, I turn back. But sometimes I lose the battle. I just go, so this is it. Find anything that you find normally uncomfortable. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. Because that's how you can go from your comfort zone. Listen, growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. When you're too comfortable, you just rot. You just rot there. Life moves past you. And then before you know it, everybody's doing stuff that you didn't even realize was possible. Well, you've been sitting there in your comfort zone. Where you want to be is in your growth zone. Okay, you want to jump the hoop, the valley, cross over to the growth zone and find a way of doing that thing that you've been thinking is impossible. It is not impossible. Seriously, it's all in your mind. When you tell yourself something, you believe it. If you say it's possible, it will be possible because you will break through every barrier to make it so. If you tell yourself and accept that it's impossible, you don't even need other people to tell you, to agree with you. You've already defeated yourself. That's self-defeating. That's self-sabotaging. Okay, again, pick a practice to try this week. Okay, and be sure to hold yourself to account. Right. So on that note, before we go into Q&A, I'm going to invite us to do a small exercise, a stillness exercise, I call it, where we're going to take 10 minutes. So please have your notepad ready. Okay. So what's the time now? It's 32. So let me talk through this and then we'll go from 35 past to 45. So it's about visualization. So I'm asking you to imagine that you're in an intentional state. So this is a state of aloneness where the one about intentional solitude, where you've taken yourself out, you may be in your home, just put yourself, take yourself to a quiet part of their house, whatever. Just imagine in your head. For me, I'm going to be sitting on the beach somewhere in the world. On a beach. I love it. Looking into the water. So just imagine you're in an intentional state of that aloneness. Close your eyes and situate yourself in a serene environment of your choice. Mine, as I said, is a beach. I can't swim, but my goodness, I love hotels on the beach. I like walking up and down on the sand, barefoot, and I can't swim. I wouldn't go near the water. Okay, weird, but works for me. So imagine your own. Just situate yourself in that serene environment of your choice. No distractions. Imagine you have no distractions, which you don't have now. You're on this in this meeting. Just you. Be present and let the thoughts come. Whatever comes into your mind, write them down. If something had been bugging you up to this point, this is the time to sift through those thoughts, okay? And as you sit in that silence, observe and capture your thoughts in that notebook. Okay, I've got 2 minutes. Let me just give you some prompts, something that might help to put you in that mode. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when no one is watching? when you're looking into a mirror and you're looking back on yourself, who are you? Are you living your ideal life already? If the answer is no, why not? What life would you rather be living now? And once you know what that life is, how can you get there? What do you need to do? What do you need to change? You are not a tree. You can move your circumstances. You can move things around in your life to get you there. Who would you be without the burdens you allow society to place on you? Society tells you how to be, tells you how to dress, it tells you this is what they're wearing now. They no longer wear that. Rather than set the trend, you follow the trend. Who would you be without those burdens? And another one, if you could ask your future self one thing in this quiet, in this place of solitude, what would it be? Okay, on that note, I'm going to mute. And then if we can each go into a 10-minute intentional solitude, I'll be back in 10. Okay. Had a tech issue there. Couldn't unmute myself. Thank you for sorting that out. All right. So I hope we all took time out to truly practice this. Do we have anyone who feels called to share at all? Do we have any a show of hands who can share? What did you notice in that stillness? And what was revealed to you? Did anything surprise you? Who wants to share? Who? Do we have any show of hands? Stop me, I can't see any.
We had one person in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Ukeria, if you want to
Yeah.
say something.
Would you like to chat? Sorry, not chat. Sorry. Would you like to share? Who wants to share what revelation you had from, if you actually did take that time out and not do anything else? Anything you'd like to
Yeah,
share with us,
I've got
Carrie?
one person. I've
Yeah,
asked you
go
to
for it.
unmute. Go on.
Mhm.
Yes, hi everybody. So, what I've been practicing this intentional solitude. Actually, last week Thursday, I took myself to a cinema on my own
Nice.
because my girls they were away with their cousins on a city break for a few days. So I'm thinking, okay, so how can I make this time alone count? You know.
Uh-huh.
So I did that. So I'm really glad I did that because I felt refreshed and just like giving myself the permission to be myself. So this exercise that we did, the question that came to me is the question I would ask my future self is why did I let the opinion of others limit me in the past?
Mm.
So therefore, what I've learned from this is that in me being intentional and taking this alone time more, and I plan to have more of these kind of alone times where I can recharge and then be in connection with my authentic self, and then let myself learn that the opinion of others doesn't really matter much in that I shouldn't let the opinion of others to limit me in living my life to the full on my own terms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, that's an interesting one because we don't realize this, but most of the angst that we feel as individuals, when you truly allow yourself to get to the root, it's from the opinion, it's from caring so much about the opinion of other people. Too much. Because it's either you're fearful of doing something because of what people might say, or not doing something because of people might say, of what they might say. It's mostly all about other people's opinions. Why do we care that much when we have agency? Why? And interestingly enough, if anything bad happens to that person, the same people will be like, well, so what if I give you the idea? Did you have to take it? Couldn't you think for yourself? So yes, we are robbed, or we allow ourselves to be robbed when we give permission to other people, when we give up our power effectively. Because that's what we're saying. We're saying, I can't think for myself. I'm going to let what you think determine how I live, or who I end up being, or who I show up as. So thank you for sharing. Do we have anyone else who would like to share? We're going into the moment of Q&A, the Q&A segment anyway, but I just want to share a few quotes there. Solitude is not the absence of love, but it's a complement. It is in solitude that we learn to love ourselves first. It is when you take time out for yourself like that, that's when you actually find out that part of you that you had been neglecting, that you had abandoned, that you didn't even know existed. I once read a quote when someone said that some people will go through life walking past themselves, as in you haven't taken time to know yourself, but you allow other people to tell you who you are. Yeah. And then another one, in the silence of being alone, the loudest truth is found. Aloneness is not loneliness, which we share. It is the presence of oneself. So within you, there's a stillness and a sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time. It's all yours. It's your space. Okay. So do we have any questions? Yeah, go for it, ma'am.
Per se, but it's just to add something, because sometimes, yes, solitude is very good, but sometimes when people are in that space of trying to discover themselves, do you ruminate? I think we should just not forget that rumination is different from self-reflection. So sometimes rumination, it tends towards negativity, where you think maybe I should have done this. And then you self-criticizing, you're not showing yourself self-compassion. So we should be careful when we are in that solitude. Solitude is to be able to rediscover, to connect with yourself, because your mental health is you, is yourself. You are mental health, and your well setting out boundaries. What needs to be redone again? What things have I learned from my past and past failures or past thing experiences that is rotting me, that I don't need to carry with me? But even when you are reflecting, is about even your past. What have you done well that needs to continue? You understand? So
Yeah.
you shouldn't ruminate. You shouldn't start thinking about, hey, maybe I should have give it to her. Maybe I should have done this to him. Maybe this is my fault. And then you forget the fact that you want to grow. You want to be a new person. You want to redefine exactly who you are and what you are becoming. And that's very important. So the concept of self, it's about actually being self-aware of who you are, because each is like each road or each change there is a story, and that story can impact your life, and you can be a better person, a vibrant person, and they know that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's just what I want to add. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for reminding us of that. So yeah, so when you're talking about regret, right? Regret is not helpful. You can when you ruminate and you find out that you may have taken actions that you now, on reflection, in retrospect even, you're finding out that actually that wasn't the right course of action. Okay. You don't want to beat yourself up, because listen, life beats us up enough already. We shouldn't be beating ourselves up, is the point my sister has just reminded us of. We should be using the lessons from our past to refine our thoughts about our future, our plans. We shouldn't stop there. It should be a stop on the way to somewhere. We're gonna trip up sometimes. It's about resilience comes in when you pick yourself up. Okay, so I know not to go there. That's why failure is not a bad thing. It's just a step on the way to success, to wherever you're going. It's just one of the points on the way to your destination. You learn lessons, you move on. You don't stay there. Okay, you don't stay in that place of rumination. My sister called it, but it's more about regret. What is the point? What is the point? You cannot change your past. But if you allow your past to define, you shouldn't allow it to define your present, never mind your future, because if you do, you're losing even more time. So yeah, look back so that you can look forward immediately and take lessons from that. So thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, please. I've asked, okay, she's unmuted. You can ask your question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. I quite enjoy what we have been taught so far. My question is that why do maybe someone like me, continuity in something, maybe you start doing something, a project, or in the time of taking time out, or being by yourself, you say, oh, maybe I can do this and I can do that, and then maybe you start the project, and all of a sudden you just feel, just abandon it. Maybe one is not pushful enough. Maybe one needs someone to sort of boost one or encourage. How can you what can you say about someone getting out from their that shell that makes you not to continue what you sort of have in your mind?
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's
that's a good one.
solution.
Yeah, so that's a good one. And as a coach, I'm going to throw that back to you. So the first question I'm going to ask is, does that desire or that goal, is it underpinned by a why? Why do you want to do that thing?
Well,
do you know why?
Yeah, maybe deep down to sort of help help others to be able to maybe encourage, because I always like, to encourage someone or to be a blessing, not financially per se, but to encourage people. But I just find that I just roll back to
Yeah. Okay.
myself.
So you have a why. It is the strength of your why that will propel you and sustain you. So that why has to be very strong. Why am I doing this? If you feel like it is part of your life's purpose to do that thing, and you're reminding yourself of it, that actually my life I will not be living a fulfilling life unless and until I do this and I consistently do it. And just to touch on the point you alluded to just then about financially, I think society has conditioned us to believe that financial help, financial support is the best kind of support, or I don't even know what word to use to describe that. It's not. It's the cheapest. Money is cheap. Your time is the most expensive. If you give of yourself and your time, so you're giving your resources. So we think about money as the only type of resource. No, it's not. Money is just one of the many resources we have available to us that we can give to others, that we can share with others. Money is the cheapest. Seriously, it's the cheapest. When you give your time, when you give your heart, when you go to bed at night thinking about how you said you like to help, thinking about what you can do tomorrow, next week to help someone, that thinking time, that's your life. That's your time. That's part of your life that you've given. Money is cheap. Money is the cheapest thing. So let's park that idea. When you give your heart, that means you're thinking. You've given your heart, you're thinking about what you're going to do. The more you think about it, the more motivated you are. So what you need to start thinking about is that self-motivation. That this thing, is it truly, how strongly do I feel about it? How strong is my why? And if it's kind of like, well, that's why I'm here. Part of the reason why I'm here on this earth at this time in this generation is to do this for this group of people. Then you will not be living a fulfilling or a complete life. You will not be living an optimal life unless you're achieving that. So that should propel you into action, to be thinking about ways that you can do it. Take money out of that equation completely and think about, and people forget that when you do for others, it's a type of enlightened self-interest. It's enlightened self-interest. It's not self-interest on its own. It's not self-centeredness or selfishness. It's enlightened self-interest, because the more you do for people, the more you feel like you're living a life of purpose. And by the way, your purpose is attached to other people's. As long as you're not living a life of purpose, you're depriving other people from living a life of purpose. Just think about it like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So you need to go to bed every night thinking, what should I be doing? Because apart from going to work and making money from business, whatever, am I truly living a life of purpose? And what does that mean for me? Oh, it means helping other people. Well, then let me do that. I have to do more of that, because the more I do, the more fulfilled I feel. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right. And with that, it will make one to have that continuity, in what has purpose, that, oh, this is what I want to do. Then, there will be no regret, or saying that, oh, why didn't I do what I have been purposing in my heart to do? So
exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. I think because we always conflate helping, we translate it to monetary type of help. We think it needs to be financial, and if I can't do that, then I can't do anything. And then we deprive ourselves to deprive other people. So for example, I want to die empty. Okay. And that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with money. No, I don't mean I'm going to give all my money away. No, I want to enjoy life. Okay. But I'm going to die empty because I am not, when they put me in that ground, when that time comes, there will be no talents left in me. Everything would have been used up. Everything. So all my waking moments are about giving, helping, giving. I give money too. I look after myself, but I give a lot more of my time because I feel like I'm adding value to someone else's life, whether they were talking or whether I'm spending my time designing things. You know, my Mindset Makeover Club program in Nigeria. I was speaking with a group today. They're looking into it for their own organization. And I was saying to them that I can give my time. The Ministry of Education, I told them, your state and Lagos, I can give my time free, okay? But I don't have too much money to give you. See, this is why I say money is cheap. But my time is available to me and I feel better. I go to bed late, but my goodness, I feel so fulfilled. I know that if I die tomorrow, there's nothing left of me. It will just be a carcass. Does that make sense? Because I'm motivated to spend the talents that I have. I'm sowing the seeds that I have, doing what I can with what I have for whomever I can. Hallelujah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Oh, sorry. Before I stop sharing, let me just share something quickly. Right, takeaways very quickly. Aloneness is a source of strength. It's a source of strength, not weakness. Please, please, please. And when it's intentional as well, it brings clarity and healing, and true confidence and purpose are born within in that season. So you're not alone, you're with yourself. You need to learn to love your own company because you can be honest with yourself. Other people may pretend that they love your company and not truly love your company. So you will be the one that will love yourself the most when you spend more time with yourself. And solitude is not empty. Don't let anybody deceive you into thinking it's empty. It's full of you. So when life throws you into that season of aloneness, embrace it, because that power is available to everybody. Okay, so on that note, I shall just remind you that you're never truly alone when you're fully with yourself. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Sis, over to you.
Thank you so much for that. A minute. I think that's me just echoing. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. And I just want to say to everyone, if you can, please, please, please just show up with lots of hearts just to say thank you. I'm going to do the same. Just look, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing that I only have 3, 4. Keep going, just to say thank you. I've learned so much. And absolutely true. Even if you're married, you need to practice solitude. It's so key. You need to have aloneness, both of you actually, both sides, because it does help you to grow. There's so much that you can do, without it. I always say to people that I don't think in a month, if I do not practice it, I cannot be myself, because you literally need it to grow. You need it for everyday life. I did send a post to a few women yesterday, and I said to them, read the comment. And this was one of the things, that women were talking about, that learn to practice it once a month. Just keep yourself aside and you will see that you're stretching. You're literally growing in every area. You're fulfilling your goals. You're fulfilling your purpose, whatever it is that you need to do, that you've put down. And like she rightly said, there's nothing like a New Year resolution. It's everyday resolution. It didn't work yesterday, start again today. There's no excuse for us not to grow. We cannot come here every month taking so much information and you're not doing anything with it. Then it's a waste of time. Come in every month, learn something, but please do use it. I don't know everything, and that's why I'm learning from people, bringing them on, and I'm learning a lot, like you're learning a lot as well. But before we go, I just want to say as well that, does anyone have anything to share? Or maybe you've learned something tonight that you feel that, what, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. I'm going to practice this, and let's see what's going to come out of it. Especially if you've never known this before, aloneness is different from loneliness. Totally different definition. And thank you, Auntie Grace, as well, for bringing that in. So does anyone have anything to share before we call it a night? If you have anything to share, please just with a raise of hands. I'm just trying to see. I think someone's just put a chat in. Sorry, I have to use my other phone. It's just so much on there. Okay, this person's just saying, thank you so much. I learned a whole lot. Thank God I'm a change agent. That's what we want. We are change agents. And please, as you have listened to this, make sure that you share, make sure that you talk about it. That's the whole purpose of Pass the Baton. We go through so that others don't have to. We're not closing our mouth. We are actually talking about things that we have learned so that other women as well can be better. It's the strength of your why that will propel and sustain you. Exactly. How strong is your why? I mean, even if you work in organizations, sometimes you see people put their why as a desktop saver. That's how strong it is that they put it there. Some people put their why, in their rooms. Well, just put it and keep thinking about it. It is what sustains us. There are days where I don't want to come online, and I'm being truthful. There are days where I'm tired as well. But you know what? My why is so strong. And the moment I think about it, it propels me and it sustains me to keep going. And I'm sure a lot of others are like that. If we're going to be truthful to ourselves, we don't have to do it, but we do it because we think about our why, the reason why we're doing this. And the more, sometimes people will send you messages, sometimes people will send you a text. And just thinking about that just keeps you going. So thank you so much, everyone. We have the link to the recording for tonight on the chat. And also there is an intentional aloneness worksheet that she mentioned earlier. If you want that, definitely that can be passed. Thank you so much, Sister Tokwe. Truly appreciate you always. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being part of Pass the Baton. And on that note, if there's no further question, I'm just going to say that we're going to call it a night. And I want to say thank you again. We appreciate you. And as you go into this week, I pray the blessings of God over